With 2024 winding down, I think it's already time to get excited about what 2025 has in store for us movie lovers, and next year's lineup looks pretty banger, especially with all the superhero films on the horizon. Sure, there's still plenty of good stuff to enjoy before 2024 wraps up, but Hollywood seems poised to deliver an even bigger 2025 at the box office, and it goes without saying that we're here for it. I think it's common news by now that the coming year is shaping up to be a blockbuster for superhero fans. On the Marvel front, we'll kick things off with Captain America: Brave New World and Thunderbolts. Then Fantastic Four will officially launch Marvel Phase 6. Meanwhile, DC has its own ambitious plans under James Gunn and Peter Safran's leadership, as Superman Legacy will mark the beginning of DCU Chapter 1, with plenty of other exciting projects lined up to keep fans buzzing. And with so much happening, it can be tough to keep track of it all, and that's where we come in. So grab your capes and sit back as we break down all the grand superhero movies coming your way. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
You want me? Come and get me!
Captain America: Brave New World. The next big screen adventure for our star-spangled hero is on the way, as Captain America: Brave New World is gearing up to be a major milestone for the MCU, as it marks Anthony Mackie's first big screen outing as Captain America. Originally planned for May and then July 2024, the movie is now set to hit theaters on February 14th, 2025. Initially titled as Captain America: New World Order, Captain America: Brave New World will see Sam Wilson continue his journey as the new Captain America after the events of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney+, where we saw Wilson's journey to become Captain America, with help from Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes. Now, Marvel Studios first dropped the teaser for Captain America: Brave New World on July 12, 2024, which opens with Sam Wilson meeting President Thunderbolt Ross at the White House, where Ross suggests that Captain America should join the military to show the world a better way forward. We then see Sam and Joaquin Torres attending a Ross-hosted event when Isaiah Bradley suddenly stands up and attacks the president. What follows is a fast-paced montage, with Sam warning Ross that his inner circle has been compromised. Among the quick cuts, we get brief shots of what seems to be the leader and a mysterious villain played by a familiar Breaking Bad actor. The trailer wraps up with a tense exchange between Ross and Sam, and in the final moments, the Red Hulk makes a dramatic appearance, hurling Captain America's shield into the concrete. Like Winter Soldier, which drew inspiration from 1970s political thrillers like 3 Days of the Condor, this new film is being described as a paranoid thriller and is expected to tackle themes of government corruption and distrust. What kind of political conspiracy Sam Wilson will have to face, though, is still under wraps. But during San Diego Comic-Con 2024, an exclusive clip was shown, revealing that Brave New World will officially introduce adamantium into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the clip, Ford's President Ross addresses a global audience, announcing the discovery of a celestial found in the ocean, which he claims is made entirely out of adamantium. So you just might want to save the date from now on, as it seems with so much riding on it, this is one Marvel movie you won't want to miss.
Oh no.
Who are you?
I'm Bob.
Who sent you, Bob?
Nobody.
Thunderbolts. Back in 1996, Marvel Comics introduced the Thunderbolts, a team of reformed supervillains that gave off serious Suicide Squad vibes. Now, fast forward to next summer, as Marvel's second offering of 2025 pulls from several previous MCU titles, and these supervillains turned heroes are officially joining the MCU. The Thunderbolts movie will bring back familiar faces like Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes and Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, while Harrison Ford takes back the mantle of Thunderbolt Ross. Along with them, Ghost, Taskmaster, Red Guardian, John Walker, and even a guy named Bob will join in to form Marvel's latest team of wild misfits. With a cast like this, it's definitely shaping up to be one of the most exciting additions to Marvel's lineup. It is an unexpected addition to the MCU, especially since most of these characters don't have deep fan followings like Bucky does. But who knows? It could surprise everyone and become the next Guardians of the Galaxy, turning this ragtag crew of anti-heroes into fan favorites. Even then, not everyone is thrilled. Some fans are worried about Bucky's role, fearing he might slip back into his darker Winter Soldier persona after getting his much-deserved happy ending in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. For now, everyone will just have to wait until May to see what Val DeFontaine has in mind for this unpredictable squad. So far, the Thunderbolts movie is taking the MCU in an exciting new direction by assembling these villains and antagonists for a mysterious mission on behalf of the US government. With no Avengers teams on the horizon until Phase 6, this film offers the only major team dynamic we'll see before Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. With that being said, don't expect this to feel like your typical Avengers adventure, as the Thunderbolts are a very different kind of crew, and their story promises to carve out its own unique place in the Marvel Universe. Superman. As you know, in November 2022, James Gunn took the reins as the co-head of DC Studios, marking the start of a new chapter for DC's superhero films. The first major result of his efforts will hit theaters in 2025 with Superman, which was previously known as Superman Legacy. This will be the Man of Steel's first solo film since the release of Man of Steel from over a decade ago. Written and directed by James Gunn, the upcoming Superman film will introduce a younger version of the iconic hero, kicking off a fresh take on the DC universe that Gunn and his team are excited to develop. Now, earlier in March 2023, Gunn announced that David Cornsweet would star as the new Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan would take on the role of Lois Lane. Apparently, Nicholas Hoult will play Lex Luthor, and the cast also includes Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern Guy Gardner, Skylar Gisandu as Daily Planet photographer Jimmy Olsen, Wendell Pierce as Perry White, and Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl. Additionally, Anthony Carrigan will take on Metamorpho. Maria Gabriela de Faria will play Angela Spica, aka the Engineer. Eddie Gathegi will star as Mr. Terrific, and Sarah Sampaio will portray Eve Teschmacher, Lex Luthor's henchwoman. According to Peter Safran, the new Superman film won't be an origin story. Instead, it will explore Superman's struggle to balance his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. The film will dive into Clark Kent's life at the Daily Planet and his established relationships with characters like Lois Lane, avoiding the usual rehashing of past storylines. While staying true to the classic ideals of Superman, the film will have a fresh take on these ideals, presenting him as a symbol of truth, justice, and kindness in a world where such virtues might seem outdated. Blade. Honestly, I'm pretty skeptical about Blade making its planned November 2025 release date, because the road to bringing Blade into the MCU has been anything but smooth. Marvel hasn't officially announced any delays, but more recently, the film has since been removed from their upcoming schedule, leaving fans wondering when or if it will ever hit theaters, and given the film's rocky journey, it seems unlikely. Since the project was announced in 2019, Blade has seen 2 directors come and go, and has cycled through at least 6 different screenwriters. Even the plot for Blade has been through quite a few changes. Apparently, one draft was set in the 1920s and even included a major train sequence. There's a rumor that the script focused more on a female-led narrative, leaving Blade in a smaller role. But it is puzzling why a story about a vampire hunter with a sword is having such a tough time coming together. Despite the issues, Mahershala Ali, a 2-time Oscar winner, is still set to star as Blade, though he's reportedly getting pretty frustrated with the delays. Mia Goth is also still attached to the film, but Aaron Pierre and Delroy Lindo have left the project. With no director or finalized script yet, it looks like Blade might be pushed to a 2026 or 2027 release date. We'll keep it on our radar and update you once Marvel makes a new announcement. Watchmen Chapter 2. The first trailer for Watchmen Chapter 2, the second half of the new 2-part animated feature from Warner Brothers Animation and Paramount, is here. Along with the trailer, the release dates for both digital and physical formats have been announced, marking the conclusion of this ambitious animated adaptation of Alan Moore and David Gibbons' iconic graphic novel. Now, in August 2024, Watchmen Chapter 1 set the stage with the shocking murder of the comedian by a random random assailant. The comedian was one of the superheroes who worked for the United States government as one of their most brutal enforcers. His death kicks off a gripping mystery that vigilante Rorschach takes upon himself to solve, believing it's part of a larger conspiracy operating in the shadows. As Rorschach digs deeper, he ropes in other heroes like Night Owl and Silk Spectre, who reluctantly join his investigation. Along the way, we also meet Dr. Manhattan, a superhuman being growing increasingly detached from humanity, and Adrian Veidt, aka Ozymandias, a beloved and wealthy hero whose connection to the conspiracy becomes more apparent as the story unfolds. One of Rorschach's leads takes him to Edward Jacoby, also known as Moloch. Rorschach interrogates him aggressively, trying to force out any hidden truths, but when Rorschach returns to Jacoby's house one night, he finds the man murdered, and before he can piece it together, the police storm in. A brutal fight ensues, and Rorschach is ultimately captured and arrested. In a chilling voiceover, it's revealed that Ozymandias orchestrated Jacoby's murder and framed Rorschach to remove him as a threat. Watchmen Chapter 2 will pick up from this cliffhanger, unraveling the full extent of Ozymandias' plan and the roles the remaining heroes will play in confronting it. According to the official synopsis, the film will see the outdated heroes grappling with their personal struggles and strained relationships as they race against time to solve a growing mystery tied to a looming nuclear conflict between the US and Russia. But that's all we know for now, so stay tuned for more. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, and all their spectacular spider friends are gearing up for what might be their final adventure in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, the grand finale of Sony's animated Spider-Verse trilogy. Calling Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse a hit barely scratches the surface. The groundbreaking film didn't just win an Academy Award, it redefined animation and beat Marvel and DC to the punch with its mind-bending multiverse storyline. What many of you might not know is that the sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, was originally titled Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, and though the name changed, the jaw-dropping cliffhanger makes it clear this was always meant to be the first half of a two-part story. Now, fans were eager to see Miles Morales back in action, fighting for the multiverse in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which was originally set to swing into theaters on March 29th, 2024. Unfortunately, that release date has been scrapped, leaving the film without a clear timeline, but the current speculation suggests that we might not see it until late 2025, and to be honest, this delay comes as no surprise given the impact of the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes, which have put numerous projects on hold, including Beyond the Spider-Verse. The strikes have also left the fourth Spider-Man film in the MCU, starring Tom Holland, stuck in development limbo. So for now, fans will have to be patient as these beloved web-slingers take a temporary break from the big screen. Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday, which was formerly known as the Kang Dynasty, is gearing up to be the first of two major Avengers films in the MCU's Phase 6, which is now slated to hit theaters on May 1st, 2026, following a delay from its original 2025 release date. The project has seen some major behind-the-scenes changes. Initially, director Destin Daniel Cretton was set to make the film, with Jeff Loveness handling the script. However, Cretton left the project in November 2023, and Michael Waldron stepped in to take over writing duties shortly after. Now, the fifth Avengers movie is shaping up to be a major turning point in the MCU, as it's expected to introduce the new Avengers team. However, the film has gone through some significant changes. Originally, Jonathan Majors was set to return as Kang the Conqueror, but after Marvel Studios parted ways with Majors in December 2023, plans shifted dramatically. With Kang no longer at the center of the story, the film's focus turned to a new antagonist, Doctor Doom. This change led the movie being rebranded from Avengers: The Kang Dynasty to Avengers Doomsday, thus signaling a bold new direction and a fresh threat from Earth's mightiest heroes. The big title change to Avengers Doomsday was actually revealed during the 2024 San Diego Comic-Con, alongside a jaw-dropping announcement of Robert Downey Jr., best known for his iconic role as Iron Man, returning to the MCU, but as Doctor Doom. Downey's comeback is massive news, especially since it marks his first appearance in the franchise since Tony Stark's emotional farewell in Avengers Endgame. The internet is already buzzing about what his take on the legendary villain could bring to the MCU, with speculation growing that Doom's storyline will play a a pivotal role in the follow-up film Avengers Secret Wars. During the 2024 Comic-Con, it was also officially confirmed that the Russo brothers will return to direct both Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. I think that's amazing news, as Joe and Anthony Russo previously delivered two of the franchise's biggest hits with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So, with their proven track record of balancing massive ensemble casts and crafting epic storytelling, we can be hopeful the duo can help the MCU recapture the magic of its greatest moments. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. For the first time since 1984, Clark Kent's cousin is set to take center stage in her own cinematic journey with the DCU's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Inspired by Tom King's acclaimed comic run, the film promises a fresh and compelling take on the Girl of Steel, also known as Kara Zor-El. Millie Alcock, who's famous for her breakout role as young Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen in HBO's House of the Dragon, will bring the iconic Kryptonian to life. Directed by Craig Gillespie, this highly anticipated project marks a bold new chapter for Supergirl on the big screen. As of now, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is set to bring Tom King's graphic novel of the same name to life. In this story, Kara Zor-El goes on an intergalactic journey to celebrate her 21st birthday, accompanied by her faithful companion, Krypto the Superdog. However, her plans take a dramatic turn when she crosses paths with Ruthie, a determined young woman seeking revenge against the man who murdered her father. The mission gets even tougher when Kara finds herself on a planet under a red sun, stripping her of her powers. Despite this, her unwavering sense of justice drives her to help Ruthie, and together the two set out across the galaxy, stopping at nothing to track down the killer and confront those who try to block their path. Apparently, Woman of Tomorrow is a character study of Kara Zor-El and shows her bravery, toughness, and also her insecurities, making it one of the most powerful stories to come from DC Comics over the last few years. So that's definitely something distinctive to look forward to. Spider-Man 4. Everyone has their own favorite live-action version of Peter Parker, and 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home surely gave us the unforgettable treat of seeing all three share the screen. The film's finale also set the stage for a new chapter in the web-slinger's story, one that's set to continue with Tom Holland's fourth MCU solo adventure. Spider-Man 4 was officially confirmed to be in development in February 2023, and is currently set for release on July 24th, 2026. While we're still a bit far from knowing all the details, it's likely the film will explore Peter Parker's journey of rediscovering himself as a hero after the memory wipe spell from Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, if you remember, in the post-credit scene of No Way Home, we saw a piece of the Venom symbiote left behind in the MCU after Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock was sent back to Sony's Spider-Man universe. This set up the possibility that Spider-Man 4 could explore Peter Parker's struggle with the black symbiote suit. On top of that, Peter will likely have to face the emotional challenge of deciding whether to reconnect with his friends and girlfriend who no longer remember him. Spider-Man 4 will be directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who previously helmed Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings for the MCU. This makes his involvement in the new Spider-Man film particularly exciting. If Cretton can bring in the same stunt team from Shang-Chi and incorporate some of that movie's incredible combat choreography, it goes without saying that Spider-Man 4 could feature some of the most thrilling action in any of Spider-Man's MCU appearances. The Batman Part 2. The Batman was a major hit both critically and commercially when it debuted in 2022. Directed by Matt Reeves, the film introduced Robert Pattinson as a younger, early career Batman as he tackles crime in Gotham, and the story takes a darker turn when a sadistic serial killer known as the Riddler begins terrorizing the city. The film was set to be the first part of a trilogy, with the next installment, The Batman Part 2, set to hit theaters on October 2nd, 2026, making it about 4.5 years after the release of the first film. The sequel was officially announced at CinemaCon in 2022, just a month after The Batman made its debut. At the time, the first movie had the highest grossing opening weekend of 2022, making a sequel almost certain, especially with the DC Extended Universe soon coming to an end. When James Gunn took over to reboot the DC Universe, he confirmed that Matt Reeves' The Batman Universe, also known as the Reeves-verse, would continue as as a separate entity under the Elseworlds banner, but the past year of Hollywood strikes led to several delays, and unfortunately, The Batman Part 2 was one of the projects affected. While the film's release date was originally set for October 3rd, 2025, the WGA strike caused delays in filming as the script wasn't finished. Release date changes are common for big franchise films, so of course, the nearly one-year push to October 2nd, 2026 wasn't a huge surprise. But until then, it seems like the details about the plot of The Batman Part 2 are being kept tightly under wraps, including any new villains or characters that might appear. However, based on how the first film ended, one likely direction for the sequel could be exploring the aftermath of the underworld and chaos. The sequel could focus on the power vacuum left in the wake of the destruction, as various factions scramble to take control of the city. What do you guys think? Constantine 2. After a long wait, fans of Keanu Reeves' Constantine finally received some exciting news in 2022 about a sequel being in the works. This summer, updates began circulating online, confirming that not only is the film moving forward, but production might be starting soon. One of the big highlights was the news that Constantine 2's script is almost complete, although despite the buzz about production potentially kicking off, there haven't been any official details yet about the plot of the sequel. In the 2005 original, John Constantine's life is spared from lung cancer after he manages to trick the devil and save a life, effectively cleansing his soul following an attempted suicide earlier. Because of this good deed, Constantine is destined for heaven instead of hell. However, once Satan sees where Constantine is headed, he decides to bring him back to life. The devil believes that eventually Constantine will find himself in trouble again and may end up back in hell when his life comes to an end. Given the way the original film ended, it was clear that the creators of Constantine always saw it as a one-off. After all, it's been 19 years since Keanu Reeves last played the character, and for the most part, it has remained a standalone film. The upside, though, is that the sequel has the freedom to take the story in any direction. It doesn't need to follow any previous plot lines, which feels fitting considering it will have been over 20 years between the two films. It's important to remember that the original Constantine didn't stick to any one specific storyline from the Hellblazer comics. Instead, it blended elements from several of the best issues, creating a unique take that worked well for the film. However, given the way storytelling is approached today, it's likely that the sequel will follow a more defined storyline, which could also set things up for a trilogy if Constantine 2 is a hit. Berserker. Keanu Reeves has always openly shared that he had always wanted to play Wolverine, though he's joked that he might be too old to bring the iconic X-Man to life. So, in between casually enjoying sandwiches on park benches, Reeves did what any true comic book fan would do and created his own series about an unkillable warrior battling through time. And of course, it has Blackjack. The comic, Berserker, published by Boom Studios, sold over 500,000 copies of its first issue even before it was officially released in March 2021. That made it one of the biggest-selling debut issues of the last decade, second only to Marvel's Star Wars relaunch in 2015. Reeves teamed up with co-writer Matt Kent, artist Ron Garney, and colorist Bill Crabtree for the project. Unsurprisingly, movie studios quickly took notice, and Netflix announced plans to adapt Berserker into both a live-action film and an anime series. Now, the Berserker comics follow the story of B, a seemingly ordinary guy at first glance. But his real name was Unut, and he was born 80,000 years ago to a nomadic tribe. His parents were desperate for a weapon to protect themselves from their enemies, so when they prayed to the gods, Unut was their answer. For millennia, Unut has been battling an endless stream of adversaries, leaving a trail of blood in his wake. As you can imagine, immortality has become more of a curse than a blessing. By the time he's working for the US government in modern times, he's more than ready to embrace death and escape the never-ending violence he's been caught in. It looks like the Berserker movie will closely follow the plot of the comics based on the film's synopsis. If the storyline reminds you of a mix of the Old Guard, John Wick, and Wolverine, that's because it shares similar themes. But what makes Berserker stand out is how it takes those familiar elements and gives them its own twist, which has earned the comic mostly positive reviews from critics. Although now we can only wait in anticipation of what the film adaptation will be like, as there hasn't been any official release date set. In fact, even the production hasn't begun yet. Avengers: Secret Wars. Originally set to wrap up the MCU's multiverse saga in 2025, Avengers: Secret Wars has been pushed back multiple times, with its new release date being set for May 7th, 2027. Drawing inspiration from the 1984 and 2015 Secret Wars comic events, the film is expected to feature an incursion that threatens to tear apart the MCU, potentially reshaping the entire franchise. Many of Earth's mightiest heroes are likely to team up for the battle, and rumors suggest that characters from past Marvel movies could make appearances. While the film doesn't yet have a director, Loki head writer Michael Waldron has been tapped to write the screenplay, and given Dr. Doom's key role in both the 1984 to 1985 and 2015 to 2016 Secret Wars comics, it's likely that his storyline in Avengers Doomsday will carry over into Avengers Secret Wars. With the Russo brothers directing both films, this also opens the door for another epic two-part-like narrative, similar to how Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame were structured. So this continuity could set up an exciting and expansive arc for Doom in the MCU. The Fantastic Four: First Steps. It goes without saying that the Fantastic Four is one of the most iconic superhero teams of all time. But let's be honest, their previous movies haven't exactly wowed anyone. Fox tried twice to bring Marvel's first family to life on the big screen, but neither the 2005 nor the 2015 adaptations managed to win over fans or critics. However, after Disney acquired Fox in 2019, the Fantastic Four were finally confirmed for the MCU. The movie is now set to debut on July 25th, 2025, after swapping its release date with Thunderbolts. So now that they're officially part of the MCU, there's real hope that this time we'll finally get the film they deserve, and maybe it will even exceed all our expectations. As Marvel's take on the Fantastic Four is expected to be a major cornerstone of the MCU's future, the team is poised to become just as important as the Avengers in shaping the franchise's next big chapter. The first look at the Fantastic Four: First Steps has given fans plenty to buzz about. Not only will the team be joined by their quirky robot sidekick Herbie, which is short for Humanoid Experimental Robot B-Type Integrated Electronics, but the film is also set in the 1960s, promising a cool, retro-futuristic vibe reminiscent of The Incredibles. Some speculate the title hints at the team's long-awaited entry into the MCU, marking their first steps into this universe. Others think that it could be an allusion to Reed Richards and Sue Storm's future children, Franklin and Valeria, possibly teasing their introduction in the story. But for me, the most alluring part of this upcoming piece is undoubtedly Pedro Pascal, but the cast has continued to expand, with rumors swirling around unconfirmed roles for John Malkovich, Paul Walter Hauser, and Natasha Lyonne. On the villainous side, Ralph Ineson is confirmed to bring Galactus to life, while Julia Garner will portray the Silver Surfer, Shalabal. So, drumroll please, because after a long time, the Fantastic Four is shaping up to be a cosmic adventure like no other. So that was every blockbuster superhero film that you should keep an eye out for. But what do you guys think about this list? And what are your top 5 picks? Let us know about your thoughts and theories in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.